And yet it is another Tuesday on Upfront with Frank Rothstein on skyscrescentradio.com, SKYES, crescentradio.com, which you can find on many podcast services in many different countries. You'll find us on iHeart, on Spotify, here, there, and everywhere.com. We're just everywhere. Sitting with me, as always, is a woman drinking out of a free, looks like bank account tumbler cup. It's Jade Zabrick. And if you'd like to talk to us about anything, find out about how to do this yourself, why don't you write to us? skyscrescentradio@gmail.com. skyscrescentradio@gmail.com. It's been an interesting week. I got lots of stuff here in front of me to talk about. I may or may not need music. I know you're all used to me playing my wonderful, brilliant taste of musical tones. I wish I could sing a song. Well, I could sing, but I wouldn't subject anyone to it. Last time I sang a song, my reflection frowned. But anyway, I could make water drops go up. I mean, it's just that bad. So I don't sing. I'm reading all these stories this week, and if you could see me now, just picture me like pushing my hair back into my head and giving it a squeeze, like halfway pulling it out. I will not say something definite as right or wrong, but I question everything I see. I don't believe anybody for anything. I don't just believe anybody, put it that way. And I'm reading all these stories. One of the stories that I cannot really wrap my hands around is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. Yeah, I'm actually, let me just read a definition here. This comes from Merriam-Webster Dictionary, which I didn't even know was from 1828, but that's how long they've been around. And it seems that, the word woke, everyone's woke. Everyone is aware. And it usually means being aware in terms, here it is, this is good. Woke is a slang term that is easing into the mainstream for someone, varieties of a dialect called African-American vernacular English. Okay. It's just people who are now socially aware. Basically, that's what it is, the long and short of it, socially aware. And usually you hear it in terms, when you hear things in terms of racism, as of late. It's really been around for a while. Last week, I believe I mentioned it last week, there are schools, teachers who want to ditch William Shakespeare from their teachings over misogyny and racism. You don't have to be woke to question Shakespeare. Shakespeare's been questioned for centuries. Shakespeare has always been questioned. He wrote some brilliant pieces. Certainly, everyone who's been an actor has, if possible, would jumps at the chance for Shakespeare. But it is for misogyny, racism, homophobia, classism, anti-Semitism, and misogynoir. Okay, that's a nice word. And there are teachers now who are looking to, get rid of it from their curriculum. They don't want to teach Shakespeare to today's audience, today's students. There are some teachers who are willing to update or modify how they teach Shakespeare. I'm all for that. Kids today are not the same as kids 30, 50 years ago. I understand that. Modify any subject you have to teach. Certainly if we can put up with math and all the modifications of that. I'll never forget it when I was a kid and long division came out. We hated it. The new math. Well, it could be a new teaching of Shakespeare. It's great. But to somehow get rid of William Shakespeare from class, from the curriculum, somehow seems like a mistake. And it's not because everybody reads Shakespeare. No, that's not true. I read a little bit when I was younger. I was able to read Shakespeare with all the these and thous that are in there. I didn't have to turn it into perfect Brooklyn English for me. I didn't have to have it translated. I could do it. Not every kid does, but I was lucky enough. But it's necessary. Matter of fact, the late Japanese director Akira Kurosawa made a movie, and then pretty much it was almost like a samurai version of Macbeth. It was a great movie. I got to remember the name of this thing, but I remember Shakespeare has been used, quoted, taught since for centuries, just to get rid of, because there wasn't misogyny, then anti-Semitism, racism, homophobia everywhere you go. It does not mean the works of William Shakespeare are bad. It means you may not agree with everything he said or everything he wrote, but it doesn't mean he's bad. Now, why am I starting in with Shakespeare? Because it was the first thing on my page, basically, only because I'm looking at all these stories this week. Saturday Night Live, because basically I think that while there's plenty of things that people can be offended with, people can be insulted about, people can take issue with, not everything you hear is that terrible. And I'll tell you right now, for all of you listening to me out there, I am Jewish. Trust me when I say this, at least the way I see it. And this comes from Saturday Night Live, which is Saturday Night Live is under fire for anti-Semitic joke about Israeli COVID vaccine rollout. Now, how did I go from Shakespeare to this? I'll never know, but here we are. It's just on my page. So Michael Chi, who does Weekend Update, you've seen it a million times. They tell you the stories that make fun of them. They make fun of everything. And his joke was, Israel is reporting that they vaccinated half their population. I'm going to guess it was the Jewish half. This has become a huge issue, a huge thing. Israel, other assemblymen, and people are actually upset about this and I don't see anything anti-Semitic about it. I would be laughing that in the country that's known for being a Jewish state, that half its citizens are Jewish, even though it's really about 75% of its citizens. But once again, people are offended. Okay, then everyone's demanding apologies. All right. Well, they're demanding apologies, but I never saw a case where someone apologized for something they said, and it was accepted and we moved on. I don't mean between you and a friend, you and a family member. I mean when you see someone of celebrity, someone in public life, apologizes for one thing or another, and it's just accepted and the issue dropped. That doesn't happen, because what else would people do with their time? Where would the Twitter complaints come from? Where would they go? I mean, from each story, it's almost like you need a week. I'm watching right now. Unfortunately, Tiger Woods was in a severe car accident. He has a load of leg injuries. He's in surgery. He's going to recover. That's great news. And I promise you, CNN will be here for 4 days. They'll be talking about this thing for 4 days. So if this guy, if Michael Chi, or if Saturday Night Live apologizes, somehow I do not believe the issue will be dropped. And I found it to be a funny joke, by the way, because look where they picked to go. So, to say half the country, half the citizens are vaccinated. I thought it was funny. But then again, Saturday Night Live has made fun of, well, everybody, everything. They've made fun of people who are Spanish, people who are Black, people who are Chinese, people who are Jewish, presidents, celebrities, everything. Why was it okay then? Why are you upset now? Why is there a motorcycle outside my window? But why be upset now? It's just a one-line joke. It's useless. But okay, here we go. Why am I on this tangent today of these, who knows? Well, we talked about the Muppets. Yes, the Muppet Show, Disney adds content warning over negative stereotypes. I got this from BBC News, by the way. And it says the program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people of cultures. Hmm. Okay, if you remember on the Muppet Show, they had the Swedish chef and all that. These stereotypes are wrong then and wrong now. The disclaimer has been added to each of the episodes for different reasons. The Confederacy, and what does it say here? The disclaimer has been added to each of the episodes for different reasons, including one where Johnny Cash sings in front of the Confederate flag. Keeping in mind that the Muppet Show way back when is about 30 years ago. Okay, 30 years ago. The Confederacy was a group of southern states that fought to keep slavery. Well, we know what the Confederate flag is, but we're worried about it now, and they're going to put Disney has decided to put warning labels in front of it, and I don't know that I ever saw a child, a little kid watching a Muppet Show and worrying about a flag, a stereotype, a stereotyped accent. Certainly, I mean, I am not offended when I hear people making fun of a Jewish accent or a Brooklyn accent or anything else that I may be, because sometimes it's in humor. It's just in humor. Let's see, the reassessment of old content was promoted by the Black Lives Matter protest last summer and has sparked debate around the programs and films ranging from Faulty Towers, Gone with the Wind, Little Britain, and Bo Selecta. I'm not familiar with that one. But anyway, so now Disney is worried about the Muppet Show, even though I love the Muppets. I love the Muppets. I thought they were great. And that's all I could say about the Muppets. Coca-Cola. This is my peeve of the week. I want to make sure let me just kill my volume here for a second. I don't even need to do that because I already did. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola slammed for diversity training that urged workers to be less white. Okay. Let's see. Coca-Cola employees were urged to be less white as part of the company's alleged diversity training. But the material was yanked offline following a viral whistleblower post. All right. What does it say? The Confronting Racism course in question was offered by LinkedIn Education and allegedly utilized by the soft drink Titan. In the US and other Western nations, white people are socialized to feel that they are inherently superior because they are white. And that reads one of the slides, okay. So anyway, you got the idea of that. Let's see. To be less white, what does it say here? You need to be less oppressive, less arrogant, less certain, less defensive, less ignorant. Be more humble, listen, believe. That's vague. Break with apathy and break with white solidarity. Okay. Less oppressive. Less arrogant. Well, some people are just arrogant. There are people who are arrogant, less certain. I'll just attach that one to listen. Yeah, listen to what people are saying. Listen to what people are telling you. Maybe you are wrong, but I'm not. But why should anyone of any race have to dumb themselves down to be less certain? What if you just know? What if it's something that has come up and you simply know the answer? You know what's going to happen. You just know something. Less certain. Well, I don't walk into every conversation like I know the answer to every last thing being discussed. No, I'm not that kind of certain, but I can only speak for me. Be less defensive. All right. Well, I'm not quite sure what that means. What are we being defensive about? Be less ignorant. To be ignorant is to be unaware. It does not mean you are stupid. It does not mean you are unintelligent. Ignorant is simply being unaware. I cannot be aware. I do not know what you had for lunch. I am ignorant to your meal at lunch. If you tell me what it is, I will then know. I know I've just simplified it, but it's a decent enough example. You are not ignorant because you do not know something. Um, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. You are ignorant if you do not know something. You are not unintelligent if you do not know something. Is fine. Be more humble. Well, yeah, I go along with that. Be a little more humble. Everyone should be a little more humble at times. Sure, why not? It's not just taught as part of social, like a social way. It's taught in church, it's taught in school, it's taught in a lot of places. Be a little more humble, be a little more appreciative, be a little of this, be a little of that. And yes, listen to what people are saying. Listen, just because somebody is one color or another, one religion or another, does not mean they are wrong. By definition, because I say something does not mean it's wrong. Feel free to listen. Believe. Believe. Well, normally when I'm going to take that to mean believe what people are telling you. That means take things at face value originally. Okay, okay. Break with apathy. Well, some people are apathetic. You can't help it. Break with white solidarity. You mean does that mean that just because someone's white means I think they're right? No, that's not the case at all. But that's me. Automatically, does white mean right? No, that's not the case at all. No, no. But somehow, and I was listening to a YouTube video last night, and the host of the podcast of the show is black, and he was disagreeing with this, and so was everyone on his comment stream. This is racist to say this. Racism is not just one way. It's not. It really isn't just one way. It could come from anywhere to anyone. It is possible that someone who is black, brown, any other color you could think of in the spectrum can be racist. To be less white. If I said to anyone, be less black, I would be labeled racist right away, and the word would get around. I cannot imagine telling anyone to be less of who they are. Less of who they are basically are. I cannot tell them to be less of it, be ashamed of it. I cannot tell someone to change it. And to be, you're saying pretty much is uh, be less of who you are, dumb it down, tone it down. But then again, if I said tone it down, that could be insulting to a million different groups of people out there. Tone it down. Then again, I mean, right about now, if you say anything these days, if you say anything of anyone of color or different, if anyone of Jewish, look, a guy has said, I just read, he made a joke about this people getting vaccinated in Israel. The word anti-Semitic came out. How many times have you read? You say something, a group of people who are black, you're automatically racist. If you say something, if you disagree with someone or disagree with something about someone who's gay, you are automatically homophobic. And that is too easy to say and do. Well, right now we have be less white. What phrase? Matter of fact, write to me at upfrontfrank@gmail.com and tell me the accurate phrase you would attach to asking someone to be less white. And Coca-Cola saying it's not a mandatory course, seminar. It's well, if it's not mandatory, why are you even offering this? Why you're only going to tell some employees not to be whatever this is? This to me is just another variation of, well, bullshit. So I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, how? Where's my screen? Where is my screen? Here it is. Jade, I'm surprised you didn't jump in here. Um, well, I'm looking at Jade. I mean, she's sitting there. I could see her biting her lip. It's. Tell me, Jade, how can I make you? How can I request that you be anyone less or change who you are? All the components that make you you. How can I change any of that or request that people change to fit whatever mold they wanted in? It just doesn't work. It's not possible. And I think Coca-Cola has made a bad mistake. And okay, if everyone on Twitter wants apologies, I think Coca-Cola should apologize. I just think it's ridiculous. I don't think they should apologize. No one accepts it anyway. But to be less, why don't you just ask someone who's 7 feet tall to be shorter? Why not that? Let's try that. Everyone who's really tall, be less tall. I mean, it may sound like I'm generalizing too much or that I'm insensitive to one thing or another, but I hope that's not the case because I'm not insensitive to how people feel, or I try to see it from the other guy's point of view. I really do. You've heard me before talk about just other things. We talk about transgender athletes, when the transgender women, the males who want to sit there and say they're female and compete with the women who now lose out on all their opportunities, who have been beaten inside of combat sports because men are now fighting with women, which is a disaster. And there are laws, there are cases in court now fighting it. I mean, at least I try to see it from the other one's point of view. But less white, less this, less black, less Jewish, less. And people, believe me, I've heard someone say to me, "You're too Jewish." This, and they're trying to be a little, I mean, a little less Jewish. It's not possible. This is me. I talk with my hands. I I do whatever Jews do. It's just the way it is, you know. And unfortunately, I at least, or unfortunately for anyone who may not agree with me, I do not agree with this. To tell any body to be less of who they are, I just can't do it. I mean, I just can't do it. Yeah, and you can joke with your friends all you want. You can say whatever you want to your friends, and if they're your friends, they can probably say whatever they want to you. So yeah, we can have fun with the conversations, but in any kind of a serious tone, I think this is a disaster. It's just a disaster. Anyway, that's what I think about that. You can look that up on Google and read all about it. Extra, extra. It's there. Let me clear out some of my screen. And we're gonna go without music this week because just trying it new. See, maybe I'll just sing a song in my head. There's always something to sing in my head. And well, believe me, maybe it's because I'm left-handed or a Virgo or whatever else, but there are times when I can be having 3 conversations and singing a song in my head. It's just the way it goes. Ah, man. And I need a glass of water there, a little drink. Well, let's see. I'm looking at the news outlets. No, nothing new to report. Tiger Woods was still in a car crash this morning. Really bad. He went over a hill. He went over an embankment. I don't know how he did that. And only came out with leg injuries. But okay, he's going to be there. What else is going on? Oh my, let's get to some easier going stories because there are so many. Well, we noticed, if in case you haven't heard, COVID is still around. I ordered some new masks for myself because much like shirts and other articles of clothing, masks are now part of your clothing. So I had to get a few new ones. Got a good deal on Amazon. Got a handful of them. It'll mean I don't have to wash them as often. That's always a good thing. And I'm reading here almost a third of people with mild COVID-19 still battle symptoms months later. Oh, it's according to a study. I got this from CNN Health. Well, yeah, I still do not taste or smell things the way I used to. I use the same shampoo I've used for years, the same toothpaste I've used for years, which I enjoy very much. I use Arm& and Hammer, what is it? Advanced Care. I like that toothpaste. I just like it. I open it up. I mean, I hope when I walk near you, you're smelling mint, but to me, the smell of it is rancid. I can't smell it. My shampoo, I cannot, it just smells terrible. It's incredible how that works. I still go with dishwashing soap smells really bad to me. Matter of fact, I used Rolaids when I had a little indigestion. I got a pack of Rolaids. They have the little fruit colored packs. Um, Damn, that had a bad taste. I still can't drink apple juice or eat an apple. I love apples, can't have it because, well, it just had, oh, nasty. What a smell and taste. Um, and there are a lot of people that I know, at least a few of them really, say a lot, depends what you call a lot, really thought I was crazy. A friend of mine whose wife caught it, a little bit more severe than I had it, but she couldn't smell a thing. I said, I thought you were crazy. And there she is, having a problem. My cousin had it. Again, unfortunately, she was sicker than I was, but she's out of her quarantine, going about her days and nights, and still has a problem smelling and tasting. I think I was laughing when I know I mentioned this out here. While I was quarantining, I really had no smell and taste. I just wanted to soup, you know. So I keep a bottle of sriracha, the hot sauce sriracha, and I just wanted to taste something. So I poured some in, and I poured some more in, and by the time I was done, my mouth was on fire. I had so much of it in there, but I couldn't taste anything. Yeah, and yes, people with COVID do have, not every last one, but people with COVID, depending on what it is, do have lingering effects. Some people don't have the same lung capacity. Some people aren't as strong and affected at something else in their body. Things change. Fortunately, my body is still pretty strong. Unfortunately, I cannot smell or taste most of what I eat. Certain things I can. I'm pretty good with meat. I'm pretty good with a lot of things, but I've also lost my desire to eat certain things, which is unfortunate. So usually when I want fruit, I'm sort of limited. I can have grapes if I want it. I eat watermelon because I enjoy it. But it's one of the few types of fruit I can eat that doesn't bother me. I believe strawberries also. Think about it, not being able to eat an apple because of its taste. So yes, this is true. Many people after COVID wind up unable or an adjusted way of doing things. They wind up with residual effects, and you have to change how you do things. Sometimes it's just depends on the individual, I guess. But speaking of COVID, there's one story gone. Look at this. We're flying through here. Look at me go. Um, 1 second. I'm logging into this because it seemed I logged out. I'm signing in. 1 second. Okay. Here I am. I didn't know. The New York Times had me logged out. I'll tell you why in a second. A 90-year-old woman, remember we had the blizzards last week or the week before. So a woman walked 1 second. This computer's giving me here it is. I was having a problem logging in. I'm sorry. A woman 90 walked 6 miles in the snow for her vaccine. That's Frances Goldman, who struggled for weeks to book a coronavirus vaccination in Seattle. So when she got a Sunday appointment. It says didn't intend on missing it, even if it meant braving the elements. And that is just what she did. She got herself dressed up, took out a couple of ski poles or whatever she used, and she walked 6 miles to get it and 6 miles back. Good for her. Said it was quite a walk. She caught glimpses of Lake Washington falling through the, in the falling snow. But she had said it would have been more difficult had she not gotten a hip replacement last year at the age of 89. Um, Sometimes you just do what you gotta do. Well, good for her. Good for her. I'm glad Miss Goldman did her thing. I'm glad she got it. Hopefully, if she goes for her second trip, that someone gives her a lift because I think she could use it. And you know, people got to do what they got to do. What is this? What is this? Oh, it says as Israel reopens, whoever does not get the vaccine will be left behind. That does not mean they are moving the country and you're going to be left on the old land. That simply means when it comes time to fully open up the restaurants, the schools, anywhere where you're required to have a vaccine, you will not be allowed in. And that's they're taking their precautions. Uh, I know people think that they have their rights not to wear masks, not to get vaccine, and no one can make you go for a vaccine. Don't get me wrong. Don't get anyone wrong. No one can make you go and sit there and get a needle in your arm. But people do have the right to not let you in if you do not get vaccinated. This works the same for measles. Kids today have to get measles vaccines to go into school. Yeah, well, all of us now are used to it. We just get shots as babies. I mean, I'm in my 50s, so every parent got shots. We just got vaccinated. Measles, mumps, chicken pox, smallpox, anything. I still have my vaccination in my arm, the gun they used to use. But now, today, even going back over the last, 15-ish, 20 years, people believe they don't have to vaccinate their kids. Well, okay, mom and dad, that's, do what you got to do. But at least in Israel, you may not be allowed you know, into places where you want to go. If you're okay with that, go to it. What else is going on here? This story came out last week on the 16th. I don't know if I remember what date I came on last. Was it the 16th? Probably was. Chris Harrison was canceled. Excuse me, The Bachelor's in the show The Bachelor. Chris Harrison was canceled for criticizing the cancel culture. After a backlash from that, the host of the ABC dating show said he would step aside. The judge, jury, and executioner thing where they just tearing the girl's life apart and driving into her parents and her parents' voting record, said the long-suffering host of ABC's The Bachelor franchise. And he said that in an interview last week about cancel culture. It's unbelievably alarming to watch this. What he's describing is, okay, well, the controversy is this. In a viral TikTok, an alleged former classmate of Rachel Kirkconnell, a frontrunner for the season's competition, posted a question. Girlie, you remember when you bullied me in high school for what? For liking black guys. That was certainly an inconvenient for Kirkconnell, who is currently on a national television dating Matt James in the franchise's first black bachelor. I had to read that. And then let's see, it says next came the customary uprooting of every supposedly unsavory detail about her life. This is what he was talking about. The cancel culture, they find something they don't like, dig around, root around your life. And next thing you know, they want to get rid of you. They just want to get rid of you. This story, whether I read every last detail or not, is no different than so many other stories. You have a group of people somewhere, and they go on what I used to call the Twitter syndrome, where everyone thinks that their personal anger means a great deal to everyone. And somehow this to me is a real epidemic, because this is exactly what's going on. And now it's on TikTok. And you see plenty of videos of one person or another going out of their way to argue with the police. I don't mean real things that happen, a real emergency, a call, and somebody doesn't agree with what the police is doing. This is a group of people who have their TikTok channel. They go on there, they make a little short video in one or multiple parts, and they pretty much set up a scenario where they're filming somewhere for no real reason. And a lot of them called the police on themselves to create the problem. And then they've memorized statutes, laws, codes, and then they start verbally attacking, not even just reading this in a calm manner, verbally attacking the police. Their anger is now taking over, and police, what are they going to do? And this is what happens. So, but this is part of what goes on in today's culture. Everybody not everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, that's a generalization, that's wrong. Many looking to ruin your life, expose your life, make your life generally miserable. I personally, I mean, I'm not worried about what happens on The Bachelor. I'm not worried about what happens in a lot of places. I don't care if half the people of Israel are Jewish. I don't care about a lot of things going on. And somehow, all these stories that I'm reading, because if you notice, I'm not reading a real emergency. I'm not reading any real problems. There's nothing new about questioning Shakespeare. There's nothing new about it. No one's, if you are, woke, you did not just woke up to this. This has been going on for hundreds of years. Questioning the cancel culture and have them complain about it, and now the station has you lose your job because you expressed your opinion. That to me is wrong. That is wrong. Why is everyone else's opinion good but yours? And that's what happened. This poor guy lost his job standing up for what he believed in, that something going on The Bachelor was wrong, and he talked about it, and that was the end of it. He's out of a job. What does it say? It's 2021, and this is Feminist Mama. This is a TikTok thing, not TikTok, someone on TikTok. Let's hold public figures accountable for their actions. Okay, good. Hold them accountable for their actions. What action did he take? He disagreed with something. This is not terrible. This really is not terrible. Disagreeing with something or someone, this is not terrible. But that's what's happened to Chris Harrison. This guy has to step aside. Oh my, it's 5:41. Look at us go. We haven't played a song and I'm still talking. Look at me go. This is from February 16th. Again, I come on once a week. So yeah, I was on the 16th. I didn't talk about this, but you might as well read it today. This is not like a dated story. Busy Phillips, that's the nickname of an actress, shared a candid look at helping her child deal with bullying after coming out. Big subject. No one should be bullied in school. I remember when I was, bullying is bullying, doesn't matter why, it sucks. Her daughter's name, the nickname of Birdie, she, as most moms do, she tells the kid it would get better, but sort of, moms know it's tough. Kids are cruel. Kids are tough. So she's opening up about the pain, it says, of having a child who's being bullied for their identity on Monday. The actress shared a long Instagram caption about how it was hard being strong for her eldest child, Birdie, who is 12, who is gay and non-binary during a rough patch. And she says, look, I haven't really talked a great deal about it because it's not entirely my story to tell, but I have to say this. When you have a child in crisis being bullied for who they are or suffering in any way, you will do anything in your power to try to help them realize it gets better. Alongside of photos of herself and Bertie and a trip to London. Okay. Yeah, she's cuddling with the kid. Um, Kids, we all know what goes on. Kids are tough as it is. And Birdie is 12. That's the kid's nickname, Birdie. All right, cool. It's cute. Gay and non-binary. Not now. Consider yourself anything you want, but I'm not so sure that 12-year-olds, or at least not all 12-year-olds, can understand, come up with gay and non-binary on their own. Gay, yeah, maybe, but not non-binary. That's a pretty tough one. And I'm not so sure that every 12-year-old is equipped to deal with, I mean, we've discussed this before, is equipped to deal with what goes on, the ramifications when dealing with other kids. I mean, let's face it, a child gets a pimple on their nose, all the other kids will make fun of it. Some kid playing ball with their friends loses the game, a bigger kid might just beat them up. It's unfortunately, kids are very cruel. This, I'm not quite sure what town, what school, what the setup is in this kid's life, but this sounds like a lot. At 12, well, I'm sure it will get better as she gets older, as Birdie gets older and, is more capable just by age, experience, and wherewithal of how to deal with things. But for now, I'm not quite sure. It doesn't say how they came up with the idea that a 12-year-old going to school, gay and non. I'm not quite sure how this kid presented it to the other kids in school, but she's having a problem. And I don't want to see all the problems creep up on this kid like other problems creep up on other children and they do something drastic to themselves. And we've all heard about stories before of kids doing with just doing the unthinkable, so to say. So, I mean, I wish Birdie well. I know she's got a lot, and I'm sure she feels safer with mom, and I don't blame her. But it's going to take a little time with the kids. Not all little kids can handle all they're going through, and it takes adult interpretation and sometimes a little adult restraint. So, I remember years ago, it was a couple of years ago, I'm in the studio, I'm talking about some mom who accepted their son's thing of gay, and that's great, being gay, kid thinks he's gay, it's great. So she sent like a 7-year-old to school with fake nails, makeup, and a dress. Kid was getting beaten up. Children do not understand. You have a better chance, and I've seen so many videos of this, of children with physically disfigured, amputees, whatever, and they get along with other children in the same boat, so to say. It's much more understandable to them that they understand. This is a lot, and I'm not so sure that every little kid, again, not every little kid can handle all that's involved. But okay, let's wish Birdie luck, and hopefully everything goes well. And hopefully they find some sort of a workable solution to their problem. That's what I got to believe. Let me see what's going in here. I had my screen off of Jade. Let's see what Jade's doing. Jade's sitting there quietly wishing she was hearing my music because usually her head's bopping up and down and she's dancing, thinking to herself, can I cover that song? Can I sing that song? Yeah, good, yeah. Let's see, any new equipment on Jade's table? Oh, I see some buttons are lit up. She has a little screen going on. And is that a pad or is that, yeah, it's a pad. Let me see, anything new in the bookshelf? No. A couple of guitars, a little walk rug, a couple of pair of shoes. I don't see, what happened to the workout ball? She moved the workout ball to another room. She can't even get on the mic and say this to me, which she could. She's electing not to. You know how I know? Because Jay just did a huge interview for somebody and sang songs and did a whole good job, and she wouldn't shut up. But for me, I came, where the hell's the ball, Jade? She's pointing to a room I can't see. I'm looking at a little box in the TV screen. This is like pointing to, I can't see it. Okay. What else is going on? I should be playing a song. There must be a song for this situation here somewhere. Coney Island has been given approval to return from pandemic shutdown, which is huge. Lots of tourism. The hot dog eating contest in July will be back. And Joey Chestnut will try to defend his title once again, going for a record 102 or 73, or whatever number he holds for eating hot dogs in 10 minutes. But yeah, the rides are coming back. There was supposed to be some new rides coming to Coney Island. And they said they will be able to reopen starting April 9th at 33% capacity, which I'm not quite sure what that means. Does that mean people on rides, restaurants, or you can't block people from the street. So I'm going with 33% inside the restaurants and whatever. And they do have some. It's not all rides. It's not all Nathan's hot dogs. There are plenty of things to do in Coney Island these days. Hopefully, we have a single A rookie single A baseball league team, the Brooklyn Cyclones, with a nice little stadium. Hopefully, they're back in business this year because it was fun. During the first season. I had the first 2 seasons. I had season tickets. It was a lot of fun. I went to Nathan's for my hot dogs, but the games themselves, it was pretty cool. It really was. Then they had boxing in there one night. It worked. It was on HBO. The crowd was over 5,000 people big. Plus, how many chairs they can put on the field to watch the fights. It worked. They never did it again. I see that in so many places, whether it's that, restaurants, anywhere else. It works. We'll never do it again. So I always feel bad about that. What else do we have going on? Well, just a lot. You're hearing the stories, I'm reading a story. This was another TikTok doc explaining why beer goggles make you look sexier. Turns out Drunken Love is more than just a lusty collab track by Jay-Z and Beyonce. In fact, medicine and biochemical engineer recently took to TikTok explaining why getting a little wasted boosts the beauty of basic barfly faces. Alcohol is absolutely amazing. Dr. Carl Kruzelnicki says in a now viral info shared video to his verified TikTok account. It can strip all stains off garage floor, but it can also change your human perception of reality. And that's from Australia. A lot goes on in Australia. Well, they're right. They are right. You walk into a bar alone, you're sitting there a while, somebody's drinking, you're not with your friends, you're not with anybody, and there's somebody in the bar. And you think to yourself, why not? And alcohol is actually very, very helpful in these areas, as is sex, by the way. Alcohol and sex. Oh, someone's in trouble. Alcohol and sex are good for 2 things besides their general purpose. One is they make, I always joke, but I think they make people 50% better looking and 50% more intelligent than they really are. Yeah, listen, you're drinking with someone, you listen to all their bullshit all night long. You're having sex with someone, you- at the moment, you'll listen to almost anything they have to say, provided they're not really insulting. And yeah, alcohol will do it. Beer goggles. You're not really seeing what's there. I knew a guy years ago. I always saw him in my friend's local bar. And he was an older guy. He was just a nice enough guy to talk to. And he looked all right. And inside the bar, there was a sign that was like neon pink. Everybody looked good. Everybody looked healthy with the pink light on. And then I saw him one day in daylight in the grocery store. Looked good. His skin was blue. He had bad circulation from all the smoking he did. He was older. He never got out into the sunlight. Pink. This guy was a shade of blue. I'm surprised he was able to walk around. But okay. Pink lights, booze, and if you're lucky enough, a little sex. And that's just, what can I say? We're covering a lot of ground this week, people. We went everywhere from racism to beer goggles to drunken attractiveness. I'm doing good today. I'm on a roll. Let's see. What else do we have? There's a store in Oregon. This one here I find a bit wrong. A store in Oregon that threw out food is now confronted by angry activists, and I have to believe them. I believe they are. I'm looking at a picture of a dumper. I mean, picture like in front of a building, a giant garbage dumper, like construction, whatever. This is filled with food. This is out of Portland, Oregon, and it says lobster tails, tiramisu, pounds and pounds of red meat, and hot dogs. Dumpsters outside a grocery store in Portland, Oregon, were filled with food that employees had tossed after snow and ice storms over the weekend knocked out power in the store. Soon, a small group began forming outside the parking lot, angry so that so much food was being thrown away in a city where more than 300,000 customers had lost power and where homelessness is a major concern. So now you have the idea of the story. Yeah, they threw out all this food. You know what the good thing about winter and blizzards are? If you don't have power, you can store whatever you want outside. You really could. You can store anything and you can donate it very fast. You can donate it. Store it outside. Pay a couple of your employees to stay there, especially if you put it in the back of the building where people do not go. You can store a lot of stuff out there in boxes. Obviously, it's not the paper goods, but I can't believe all this food went bad. And probably if somebody had a brain in their head, they would have said, let's put some of it outside or near the loading dock where it's cold and open the garage door, open the door that lets the trucks back in and let it stay cold. Instead, they had, like I say, like a demolition garbage dumper. You've seen them in front of a lot of buildings, stacked with food that could have gone to better places. I understand you got to be a little careful with fish. I understand a lot of things, but if people can put a 6-pack of beer on their fire escape or in their backyard, when people are camping and you want stuff to stay cold, you put it in the stream way down so it can't drift off. That keeps it cold. Certainly, you could think of opening up your loading dock and storing a lot of food, even if you can't save it all. Store as much as you can. The more sensitive the nature of the food, the better. And donate it or give it away. Just give it away. Anybody, give it away. Everyone's going to be hungry. There's nowhere to go. The grocery store is closed. Just let the people have it. I don't mean let 500 people in. Just make them, just give them a shopping bag. It's a grocery store. You got the bags. Let them bring their own bag. Just give it away. Anything is better than throwing it out in a garbage dumper in front of your place. That says a lot. It is 5:57. We're about done. We will be, I think, probably changing up a lot of how I do this show because Yeah, why not? It's been more than 4 years, hasn't it? It's like 4.5 years. Wow. Wow, we're together 4.5 years. And we haven't killed each other yet. This is pretty good. This is pretty cool. I will talk to everyone next week. I wish you all well. You will find the replay of this. You'll see it on YouTube at Skies Crescent Radio, the same place on Spotify, I believe iHeart, and a couple of the other places that you see us at. But those are the three main spots to find us. As we will you be posting this on Facebook? On Facebook at the Skies Crescent Radio page, and I will just transfer it when I see it to the Upfront with Frank Rothstein page. And we are here, there, and everywhere, so beware. All right, everyone, I wish you all well. Be careful. Don't be so offended. Have a little more sense of humor, especially about yourself, because believe me, you need it. Okay, have a good night, gang. I'll see you.